I actually talked to a dominant female one time, and we were discussing the safe, saying consensual, and I said, you know, I always feel like it's just, you know, the stop sign, here it is, here's the word, aren't we happy, okay. And I left it out one time based on what my conversation with her, and my editor said, where's the word? Where's the safe saying? And I was like, but it's all in the body language, because that was her thing. Read the body language, and you know when your sub is at their limit. You need to know at that point. And I thought, but I'm writing for people that may not realize that, even if I'm writing that in. So I did put the word in.
You see, this is it. We're writing fiction. We're not writing handbooks for BDSM, and there is a big difference.
And that's hard sometimes for the lifestylers to turn around and say, but that's not really. Well, we still have to appease over here.
Right, we're writing for
and so it's, you know, it's us, and we're writing it, but at the same time, we have to, there are a few things that we have to fulfill and say, yeah, I'm sorry, it's not true, but.
And I don't always use safe words. There's times when I don't use safe words at all. I use that exact thing where the dominant is, I mean, when you've given that level of trust, they better know the difference between pleasure and, you know, your limit.
True.
I mean, you don't give that trust until you know that person.
And that would depend on within the story, the point in the relationship. The first night you meet is very different from if you've known each other 4 years.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. To go off of your question about, you know, do we get go too far or anything? My stories have all come from, springboards from what I've learned. As a matter of fact, Women in Chains, I was on collarme.com, and someone had contacted me and said, there is a group that actually saves abused slaves and submissives, and I didn't know that. So that's why I wrote Women in Chains, because, you know, it's a heroine who is abused by her dom, and a former dom goes and saves her, and then they sort of put together.
And if you ask anybody in the lifestyle and find people in organizations that will talk to you or write me, we can give you a whole bunch of hints on things to say, or, you know, when you take nipple clamps off, it doesn't feel great, okay? You know, it hurts, you know, and so you have to, it's kind of like when your ears freeze outside in the cold and you go in and, you know, and it's nice and warm and your ear starts to sting. That's what it feels like when you take nipple clamps off, depending on how long you left them on, you know. And one thing that I love, if you're, and just to kind of like a little hint for you, if you have your person all wrapped up and bondaged and with a ball gag and stuff, and you don't know how they can say their safe word, put something in their hand, and they'll drop it, you know. So just ask questions and ask other authors how they would write that scene and what made sense to them, or read their book.
Keep the darkness in